Sorry. Continue.
Okay. Do we just like share our plans? Is that the goal?
Yes, and then we listen to what your peers can give you as feedback or suggestions or whatever, and then you can choose to take that information and keep going.
All right, cool. I can start if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So my focus was like sustainability efforts, specifically with infrastructure and energy. And one community that I see making such efforts is Cleveland. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. So it just made sense for me to both understand what was going on there and already have some contacts that I could reach out to. And my topic question was, is Cleveland putting a substantial effort into promoting sustainability in its city and inspiring its municipal counterparts to improve their own sustainability? So the reason why I kind of made it twofold was, first, I did want to see like obviously what my city was doing, but I figured since this is going to be more like research based, given how we're all in quarantine, I figured why not see like what other cities are doing, just so like it's like kind of a peer-to-peer thing, like what we're doing right now, to see what we can take from other cities to make Cleveland better. And then work that's already being done in my topic is the Cleveland Office of Sustainability. So it's good that our government does have a separate department for energy. And then there's also at the more state level in Ohio, Clean Future Ohio, which is more organization stuff. And what I need to know about my community is renewable energy methods that Cleveland is using, like infrastructure, water quality, and pollution. And Morgan left a comment about renewable energy. And yeah, I did watch Tim McDonald's talk about the renewable energy housing, which I think is really cool. So I'll definitely look into that. Thanks, Morgan. And then for some people I could reach out to, thankfully, like I have a lot of good friends who are very involved in Cleveland sustainability efforts, who are like in the city, working with professionals. So I'll definitely reach out to them throughout the week. I've already scheduled 2 meetings. And for my plan, I need to first do individual like preliminary research on the history of sustainability in Cleveland. Then second, reaching out to my contacts and like creating a podcast, since we did one, and like since this class has equipped me with the tools to create a podcast, I figured why not make another one. And then third is like create a presentation of something. I know like eventually we're doing a WordPress to show to the Sustainability Catalyst Conference, but I figured like a more fleshed out presentation would be good to sort of like include the stats, include the impacts, and then the next steps for Cleveland. And Morgan also suggested that like instead of just trying to accomplish all 4 like energy, infrastructure, water, pollution, I should just focus on 1 or 2, which I think would be really helpful. And then I'm in between video or presentation for the last part, and Morgan suggested Google Meet, which is something that like I'll definitely explore into, because whatever will translate my efforts better, of course I'd want to pursue it. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
So you kept it light. Is that what you're saying?
Right, exactly.
Okay. Well, ladies, I don't know. Do you have any ideas or suggestions of what Sam could do to move forward?
I already left my comments, but I wanted to kind of explain how Google Meet works. So if you have a Google account, I think it's just a Gmail account, you can use Google Meet, and you can record the meeting, and like nobody will be in it, but you can share your screen and then go into your presentation, and then like 75% of your screen will be the presentation, and then there's a little box on the side with you talking. So it's like a video and a presentation at the same time.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, yeah, I'll look into it for sure.
I was reading your document before we got on here, and I think your idea is like you're really thought out, and I think it's going to go well for you. But what Morgan said, Google Meet, I think that would really help, because then you could like talk, and it's the same thing. It's like a video but and a presentation. Or even like on Zoom, I know they have like a share screen feature that you can like talk while your presentation's up. Mm-hmm. So I think that'd be helpful for you.
Right, thanks.
Yeah, I really like your idea, and I like that you're like planned out and you have like a nice idea where you're going, and I think it has like it's relatable to your like community.
Thanks.
All right, who would like to go next?
I could go next.
Okay.
So my focus was coastal restoration. I live in Connecticut and I live on like the shoreline, and Connecticut's having a lot of problems lately. Like since Hurricane Irene and Sandy, we got destroyed. Our shorelines were terrible, and I feel like I was little, but for some like they just like people rebuilt like so fast, and like I wasn't really understanding how that stuff even like happens. Like how does it go from destroyed to everything rebuilt so fast, and like how can we prevent that in the future? So I'm doing research about what they're doing so far to prevent that in the future, because hurricane season is coming up in Connecticut. I feel like where I live in one of the most high risk counties. So like we're right on the water, on the Long Island Sound, and I want to know, like, I know they're putting up like seawalls and stuff, but I've read like other options that are like more sustainably efficient, like putting like what are they called now? They're like grass patches. I forget what the name of them are, but they're like green walls rather than a regular like seawall. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make an infographic about it and write a report about what they're doing. Yeah.
Congratulations! I like your plan. It's like really associated with like something that is like not reachable, but like something that's happening around you, and it's like something different because like what's goes. I don't know. I really like your plan.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate like one part of my feedback. Like again, I totally agree. I think it's a great project. But when you say like researching what they're doing, is that just the government's actions, or is it like a combination of what government's doing and like maybe some private corporations who are also invested in?
I was going to do both private and public, because my best friend's dad, he works for a private sustainability company that works on stuff in the shoreline, and they try to work within the government's regulations, obviously. So I want to know like how that plays out and like where the limitations are for how much they can actually do.
Got it. Yes.
Yeah. I think that if you can talk to your best friend's dad, I think that would be a good resource if you could like interview him or just go through her or something.
Yeah, I think I can go next. Like anybody has something else to say. I don't know. So mainly my idea of like reaching out to my community is because I study in a school like that it's like kind of expensive, and like all of the people in every holiday like they use like to travel around nationally or internationally, and like they take on flights. So then like was going to like look for information and like how ways to travel throughout like with planes that are more sustainable, because if I remember 2.5% of the carbon emissions from the world are because of planes. So then I was going to look into, how do you say, carbon offsets. There are like schemes where people can like pay to offset the what they produce for like emissions during their flights. And then I'm going to do like 2 infographics when saying like mainly how what is carbon offsets and like companies and like sites that have like that offer this to people. And the other one would be like of the consequences of like the carbon emissions of planes, you know? And then I was going to do like a presentation also, like explaining like better the infographics.
That sounds like a really great idea. I'm just wondering, would more sustainable planes be any more expensive than regular planes, or like where does like the price come in there?
I don't know. Really.
It's okay if you don't know yet. I was just wondering. Like it might be something that people would want to know. That's all.
Yeah, I was going to look like mainly of like mostly like offsetting things.
Right.
I remember reading about your idea when we originally did like the original planning, and I really liked it because I also go to a school where people just they go everywhere. Like people take weekend trips to Florida just like all the time. Like they just get on a plane with their friends and just go. Like I don't know, that's just a thing at my school. I don't know if people do that, and I think since we've all been like stuck inside and a lot of people canceled their spring break trips, it kind of got me thinking like people like the carbon emissions from all these flights, like it was a lot, and they've been saying that like emissions have gone down since we've all been stuck inside. So I think that's really interesting to explore like how much impact we do have. So I like your idea.
Yeah, I agree. I think the offsets part is really interesting. But I also think there's this, like, it's hard to incentivize people to, like, spend even more money when they probably aren't. I mean, well, actually, I don't want to make assumptions, but who knows if they're trying to be sustainable or not. So I think it's interesting to, like, look into what incentives there are to motivate people to use carbon offsets.
Yeah, and like one of the things that will be in the infographics is like trying to persuade people to like do this, like sharing the information of like the consequences that we're having because of the emissions because of planes. So then I think that with the infographics and me explaining it, it will be like more direct,
Morgan, you want to go?
Okay, I can talk about mine. So I recently went pescatarian, and for a long time I didn't eat beef or pork. And the beef or pork part was like for like health wise, but the pescatarian, I decided to go pescatarian for the environment. And I wanted to kind of spread the word because I like, even in my house, my sister like refuses to try any of my veggie substitutes. Actually, I don't know, immediately writes them off as being bad. And I wanted to make a cookbook so that people could see that there are substitutions that you can put in for meat that are just as good. And then what I haven't figured out, like my biggest challenge is deciding like what to use as my platform because I can use social media. But I kind of like my personal opinion on it that is that it's going to be annoying to people. Like I think it's hard to spread the word because I think the promoting it part is just going to be a nuisance to like the people around me. And I wanted to make an ebook. And like there's this thing you can do on like through Kindle where you can make an ebook, and I think it's like free to everybody who wants to read it. But I'm not really familiar with that software, so that's the problem with that. But yeah.
Yeah, I really like the idea of like that recipe book because I definitely think that a lot of people who would like be open to trying it perhaps like think it might be too much work to like try and figure out what they can and can't eat. And I think like in the recipe book, it might be helpful to like list allergens as somebody who has allergies, it might be like, that would put even more work on somebody. But like, I definitely think the idea, like if you can make it, I mean, it doesn't have to be like an ebook, but even just like any sort of recipe book would be a really good way to like help people feel better about the idea, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, the first thing that came to my mind when you were talking about the social media part was TikTok. I feel like if you made a TikTok account and did like each video was like a quick recipe, I feel like that's a good way to like introduce it to people without being like overwhelming and annoying. I don't know, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't thought about that.
I think like it's TikTok. I know it's like not like a highly reputable thing, but if it's like in our lives, people are scrolling on it all day long. I mean, it's a great platform to use.
And it's a good way like to go viral and like lots of people like to look at it. And it's like I think it's a really innovative idea. Like looking that like you persuading people to showing that there are good foods, like being like it's good, and there's like delicious foods being pescatarian. It like makes people want to go after and look at it.
And like in your like, if even if you did like 60-minute clips and then put a link somewhere of like a longer blog post or something like that, I think that'd be interesting too.
Yeah.
No, dame una vasijita. All right. Okay. So I really like where your ideas are going. As I'm listening to your ideas, and with the TikTok idea and like an ebook or like all of your ideas, guys, I wanted to consider once sorry, I'm getting blueberries for my daughter. Once we start going, like once you guys are published and the conference is happening online, is there a way to add a component to your presentation where you invite people to participate? So for example, one of the ways, Morgan, that you could invite people to participate is they could make their own TikToks with their favorite meals or like their favorite pescatarian meals. I don't know, something like that. And Daniella, I'm wondering, I don't know, like what could you do? Like, is there some sort of like, could there be I don't know, too basic, like, but like a fundraiser or something related to hurricane season?
I do have an idea.
Yeah.
So me and my friend, the one whose dad is the sustainability, we actually have a company and we sell like t-shirts, bracelets and stuff, and we donate the money to like ocean conservancy efforts. And before this whole corona thing happened, we had a plan to have like a beach like cleanup party, which it got canceled. But I think that could be something I can get people interested in, but I don't know like how long. Like we can't do anything now.
Well,
obviously,
I think maybe you should consider adding that, like if you guys have a webpage or have an Instagram account or something like that, where people know about these products and know that every time they buy something, you guys are helping somebody else, you know, and that's one way to get that going, and you make some sales, but you also get some money. Morgan, one of the things that I was also thinking, many of my friends follow Instagram accounts of people who upload their recipes. And they love them. Like that's the only thing they like. The whole Instagram account are just recipes for keto, for paleo, for vegan, vegetarian, like anything you want, you know. And or maybe you can have an account where people can see what you upload, but they can upload their favorite recipes as well. I don't know, like just a way to get people involved. And so, Julia and Sam, I'm also wondering, like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of any way that you guys can think about, like, how to get the public that's going to be watching and reading your WordPress, how can they be involved? Because, yes, of course, it's informational, and it's great to be informed, but it's even better if we can get people to participate in some way. And yes, of course, now there's the COVID-19 element, which makes it a little bit harder to get people to participate. So what could that look like? Like yesterday I was talking to Allie Chandler, and she has an idea for a bingo, an online bingo, but it's like something you play at home where you kind of do 5 things that are eco-friendlier, and then when you complete those 5 things, you send it off to the website she has, and you win like a coupon from a discount store, not a discount store, sorry, like a eco-friendly store, or you get a discount at one of those stores that are participating, you know, and just it creates business for those people, but it creates awareness to that person as well. So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. Like, think about how is it that you guys can take your idea and just like the conclusion or the end of it, or end quote unquote of it, would be to try and get as many people to participate once they know about your project. Kind of?
Yeah, I got it. It's just kind of hard, like for especially my project.
Well, I'm wondering, what are those offsets? Like, what if like an offset might be something super, like it might sound like it's super big at the beginning, but I'm wondering if people can begin with like baby step offsets. You know, like how can people start doing, being a little bit, even if it's not a complete offset, but just like being aware, just a little bit more eco-friendly, you know, and then eventually thinking about like, okay, if I was able to do all these little things, then maybe one day I will feel comfortable enough to do something larger.
What if I do like an Instagram page where like I give examples and then people who do like do the offsets or like do something pass like a photo to me and then I can post it, something like that.
It's like that. It doesn't have to be something huge. It's just something to get people to begin or to continue with that awareness, you know, and hopefully that awareness will keep growing, and all those what might seem like minute or like super small changes, but if we're all making those super small changes, then eventually they become one big thing, and we're doing something better. Okay, and guys, throughout the week, like tonight, I'm working on what the WordPress page is gonna look like. All of you guys will get accounts this week for WordPress, and that's where you guys will be working, and you won't be able to publish until I publish for you. So whatever you guys upload, like we'll keep polishing, and you guys keep adding stuff and whatever. And then before, like I'll give you deadlines so we know when you guys have to be ready before, obviously before the conference, which is coming up soon. But there will be enough time because you guys have done a lot of work. So don't worry about that. So maybe by Thursday or Friday, maybe if you are available, I'll look for a time when hopefully most of us are available, where we can all where we can all Zoom at the same time, and everybody tries out their WordPress together, you know. And if you guys have any questions or whatever, hopefully I can answer them. And if not, we'll get somebody to help you. Okay, but I'll send that out hopefully tomorrow, Wednesday at the latest, and then I'll keep you posted. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I will leave you now.
Bye. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.